viewers, you're watching QTV, and this is your final episode of the State of Affairs program here on QTV Gambia for 2025. It has been a quite incredible year for us here at QTV Gambia, and especially for our State of Affairs program, your flagship, current affairs program here on QTV. My name is Aliu Sise, and I can end this, State of Affairs, with a better guest than the one I have today, which is the Clerk of the National Assembly, Honorable Khalifa Bai. Clerk, once again, good to have you on the program. Thank you so much for coming, Clerk. It's very difficult to get you, but you finally agreed to be on the program. I'm so honored.
Thank you. Thank you, Aliu. I'm very delighted as well to join you this evening in your program. And it's a pleasure to be here once again as well. And thank you for having me.
I have never seen an appointment which has been highly welcomed like that of yours, when you were appointed as a clerk. Take us through your journey to becoming the clerk of the National Assembly.
Yes, thank you very much, Ali, once again. And as you said, the process of appointing a clerk is a very transparent one, and maybe that is why. But before coming to my background in parliamentary service to becoming a clerk, as I said, I think one of the reasons why my appointment was so celebrated or what we would call openly publicized out there was the process or the method that is used for the first time in appointing the clerk in this sense. And that goes to tell you how transparent and open the parliament has been since the dawn of the new parliamentary democracy from 2017. To take you through my journey in parliamentary service, when I finished secondary school in 2008, I immediately joined the parliamentary service as a parliamentary reporter. Yeah. And this I would pose to say, you will see the reason why I always contact the GPU to tell exactly. You that I am definitely a member of GPU, definitely. Or I should be, because I joined parliamentary service as a parliamentary reporter at the Hansard department. Yeah. Those of us who know what Hansard means or what parliament means, this is a department that verbatim records of the proceedings of the parliament. So I was a reporter reporting what transpires in the chambers and transcribe it in a verbatim report. So I have been in this position for about 2 to 3 years, and then there I was reassigned as a committee clerk. And this also, as a committee clerk, this was when the late clerk, DCM Kebe, established for the first time what we call the committee secretariat. So people will say, okay, what was Parliament doing? Who was serving committees? So committees were served by parliamentary service on a ad hoc basis, not necessarily a dedicated office or department was created. So with his vision and wisdom, he created the department in 2011. So I was redesignated as a committee clerk for the first time in the history of our parliamentary service as a committee clerk. So it was myself and Aissatou Gassama, I can remember, a two-man department established.
Who now has the
Hansard? Yeah, we'll come to that. Yeah. So I served in this position as committee clerk until in 2012, when I was promoted to become an assistant clerk and still staff in the same department, in the same committee secretariat, because we had the ranking in that department. So from 2012 to 2013, I was serving as assistant clerk in the committee department. Then later redesignated again and moved back to Hansard, and this time as editor of Hansard Debates. And so I'm back to my home. Yes, as editor of Hansard Debate. There I served almost 4 years as editor of Hansard Debate until in 2017. Again, with his wisdom and vision, as well as the late DCM Kebe, established the table office for the first time. And let me just clarify, all these departments I'm saying we are established for the first time in 2011 and 2017, respectively, are not necessarily a new thing, innovation thing in parliamentary operations, but it's something that is not new in parliament. Every parliament has what we call table office. We have what we call committee secretariat. But Gambia, we never had.
It was the first time.
It was never. So it was first time in our history. So when it was established in 2017, I was redesignated as head of the table office, moved from Hansard to head that unit, or department we call it. A department that I was so passionate about. Even before it was established, I was performing the role. I was assigned, because in our parliamentary service system, not only what you are appointed specifically, but sometimes the clerk can assign any other role that you can play. And I was performing this role even without the establishment of the department. So maybe in his thinking, I was reasonably positioned to start up that department as the head of the table office. And I was so passionate because the department is responsible for the process of all parliamentary businesses and giving procedural advice to the office of the clerk, including the office of the speaker and members. So, and also make parliamentary processes of what happens in the chambers. So I headed this department until in 2018, when the then director of Hansard retired. Therefore, they merged the Hansard and table office, and me to become the director of both Hansard and table office. Though I contested it to say it cannot work. One department would suffer. Because table office is a very agile, a very lively and very proactive department that if I supposed to head that department, I would neglect the other department. So we learned about 6 months or not to 1 year, they came back to what I said. Because Hansard was suffering. So they'd have to decouple it again. Then I continue heading the table office as director of table office until in 2022, when I went for studies for my master's in international legal studies. I returned and I was promoted as also for the first time when the position was established, deputy clerk, legal and procedural matters. I was promoted to that position in 2022, a position that I served from 2022 to 2024 when I was elevated and nominated to become the next clerk when the former clerk was retiring in December 2024. In short, this is my humble background in parliamentary service, and I believe I have contributed my little quota within that period to where I am today.
Quite an interesting journey. I mean, from 2008 to now, I mean, you have really maneuvered most of the departments within Parliament. You really understand how Parliament runs and all those things. But now, let's get back to the current position. I mean, clerk of the Parliament. A lot happened behind the scene. I mean, and for many, they wouldn't understand what exactly the role of the clerk is. Share with us, I mean, what is your core responsibility in the daily, running of Parliament as clerk of the Parliament?
Yes, I think that's quite an interesting question, and I'm very glad to share that. As you just rightly mentioned, the position of clerk, in fact, that is why you tried so much to get me here. So the position of clerk is often a behind-the-scene position. As you know, it's an institution that is very delicate, very complex, where as a parliamentary administration, you are expected, there are certain core values that is expected of us. And while finally, you know, the other wing of the parliament is so political. So how do you maneuver and navigate within that environment is very complex and very difficult task. I often say, if you are able to work in parliament as a parliamentary staff, I think you can be able to work anywhere in any institution in this world because of the nature. So as clerk, and I'm very glad to share, we have what we call both constitutional and statutory function, as well as an administrative function. So I'll try to explain both.
All right.
Our constitutional function as clerk of the National Assembly or clerk to Parliament is we are the principal or the constitutional advisor and technical advisor to the National Assembly, including the Honorable Speaker as well as members of Parliament. We give technical advice and procedural advice to the Assembly, including the officers of Parliament. Equally, it is our constitutional duty and responsibility to authenticate and communicate every decision of Parliament to whichever stakeholder or parties involved that Parliament needs to communicate to. The authentication, like every law that is passed, every bill that is passed, the clerk must verify when it is, there are amendments in the process, because every bill undergo a parliamentary process, after the first, the second, and third reading, and at the committee scrutiny. Now, once all the process is exhausted, and when members or the parliament makes its decision on a particular bill or motion whatsoever, we verify as office of the clerk, and that is a statutory responsibility on the clerk to make sure it verifies that what transpired in the chambers is what is reflected in the final product. It is the clerk's statutory response to verify every word, to see not even a dot is added when it was not the decision of Parliament. So in essentially, what Parliament decides, it's clerks to authenticate and make sure that is what it is recorded. And once that is confirmed, in fact, that tells you, that is why the law says the National Assembly authentication of bills passed by the National Assembly. The clerk must sign to authenticate that this is the true copy of the actual proceedings of Parliament.
Okay.
So once the clerk signs, that's the time it is sent to the President for President to assent. In other words, it is the clerk who signs before the President signs. So that's a statutory function that the clerks even don't delegate.
So you sign our access to information before
Absolutely, yeah, you see. In fact, it was the clerk's responsibility to verify whether the access to information reflects the true amendments or proceedings of Parliament.
Okay.
And then he or she signs, and then it is the clerk who also communicates or sends those copies, the assent copies we call it, to the President for His Excellency's assent. That's what we call it. That is a very constitutional and statutory responsibility of the. Now, in other words, the clerk is the chief of staff, if I could put it that way, of Parliament. And every decision of Parliament is communicated and transmitted by the clerk. And when it comes to the administrative function, as far as the law is concerned, both the Constitution and our Act, clerk is the head of the administration as well, meaning all staff of Parliament are answerable to the clerk of the National Assembly. And he is responsible, or he or she, if I could say, today I'm he, next clerk would be she. He or she is responsible for the general administration of the National Assembly as an institution. If I can put as a corporate institution, he is responsible for the day-to-day administration of the National Assembly service. And he is also facilitate the effective operation of the Assembly. When I mean Assembly, not the service, but the Assembly as a political wing. It facilitates their work to get their work done, both their constitutional responsibility of legislation, oversight, and representation. And the most other important thing that people may not know is about what we call, he is the principal accounting officer. As clerk of Parliament, you are the principal accounting officer. Of course, you know, as an independent institution, you manage its finances. Of course, you manage administrative operational. So, just like permanent secretary in their ministries, who is the chief accounting officer. In other words, I could put it, is the chief executive officer, CEO of the institution. He's accountable. He prepares the budget. He executes the budget, and also he prepares his financial statement for audit. And he is also answerable to what we call our Parliamentary Service Board. We call it here the authority. So essentially, this is from a both constitutional and administrative perspective, the role of the clerk. But you know, there are some incidental functions that may come. But what I could safely say, the clerk is the overall administrative officer of Parliament, and he facilitates the smooth operation as well as the efficient operation of the National Assembly as a political wing.
From what we have said, in terms of experience, the role of the clerk, if I'm right, it means then whoever is going to be clerk, you must be someone who has been within to understand all these things.
Yes. Thank you very much for bringing that up. Essentially, in fact,
you can have the PhDs out there, but if you get into Parliament, you must be schooled.
Certainly. That you are very quite right, Aliu. In this, I think this was what informed the authority when the former clerk was retiring. Of course, because in our recruitment process, we have almost 2 to 3 kind of recruitment. You have what we call internal recruitment. You have external recruitment. Also, you have headhunting. So when the former clerk was nearing retirement, and our regulation is very clear.
That's Mamadou
Cissé. The authority then thought it wise in their mind that I think it's better we look within Parliament to get the next clerk within Parliament, owing to the unique nature of the institution. And as you said, even if you bring an outsider with a PhD, he must have to learn and start over all again before he catch up. I think as a Parliament,
and Parliament can't wait.
Can't wait. So essentially, that is it, and that was the reason why I could say most of the clerks, if I could say, were recruited within Parliament, which is the best practice as well as far as parliamentary operations are concerned. And also, not only that, for us as a parliamentary service, let me just add this, Aliu. Just as I explained the nature of the institution, the political nature, as well as the technical nature of our parliamentary service wing, it is important that we have certain values, core values, and one or three of our core values are professionalism, and we ensure that there is neutrality and non-partisanship in our decision as parliamentary service, and also respect and discipline. So these are very fundamental core values that we observe as parliamentary service. It's very difficult though sometimes.
Yeah, because I was coming to ask that question when you said, okay, you're also responsible for facilitating the work of MPs, knowing how sometimes divided the parliament is. I mean, you have the the pro-government and the opposition MPs there. I mean, but in your appointment, it's like everyone was like, yes, that's the right candidate. I mean, how do you manage to ensure you are not seen to be biased in your decision and all those things? I mean, considering these two comes within Parliament.
Yeah. For me, I think it's just a vindication of the parliamentary service, and I can attest that to all of our parliamentary staff. Not only me. We are very professional, and we exercise utmost neutrality and non-partisanship in whatever we do. But coming to me to speak for myself, I think I'm just going to say from my mind to say personally what drives me when I joined the parliamentary service up to becoming a clerk has been consistency in what I do. Consistency in the sense that whatever decision that I take as a parliamentary servant or a parliamentary staff, I make sure that it is grounded in procedure, it is grounded on law, or it is grounded on an administrative process. So once that is, I can satisfy them in my mind or in my consent that this is well grounded either in law or in process, or it is grounded in administration. I do not care about what the one party would say or what the other party would say, or how would the other party see my service. So I make sure that the service that I give are within the confines of my responsibility and is grounded, as I mentioned. So that has been my key principle over the years, that I make sure that, because Parliament, for example, is always, generally, is in two sides. The majority side, you have the minority side. So I make sure that the service that I give, sometimes it will favor the minority side. Let me put it this way. The minority side would be very happy with me, say. And maybe the majority side would not be happy or pleased with me. But of course, they are professionals. Sometimes they may not say it, but sometimes you can get that instant. They may attack you. Even in the chamber, when I was a head of table office, sometimes my name, if it's called, now the present table office, head of table office, Seni, my brother.
Yes,
he always comes. Sometimes he comes to me, Carl, but can we advise that members, when they have differences in our service, let them not call our name out there. But these are challenges that we face as a parliament service. But just to give you a context why maybe people were very happy in my selection, or members, is because, as I said, I have been consistent. I don't care whether my decision would have to please the one side and not please the other side. But now, if the one decision is pleasing one side, the next day or the next episode, it can please the other side that was agreed. So you will see, at the end of the day, they will judge for themselves to see, okay, whatever the case, you will see that his decision or his service is always grounded, either in law or in process. But it's not necessary I'm looking at people's eyes.
Anything,
whether I am here to serve the majority or I'm serving the minority. No, I'm here to serve Parliament. And every side of the Parliament belongs to Parliament. So what motivates or what should concern me as a clerk and as a parliamentary service staff is to make sure that I deliver the services according to the rule book. And so that whoever it pleases, alhamdulillah, the other person would definitely, when he goes to bed, he will understand definitely, yes, politically,
Yeah.
It didn't favor me, but technically it is the right thing.
He was doing his
Yeah,
job.
he was doing his job essentially.
Now, let's move. Since your appointment, I mean, what have been some of the reforms that you have initiated to ensure, you are able to, improve the work of Parliament?
Yes, thank you. And I will also be very happy to share that it's never easy. And before coming to some of our little achievement that we have done so far within this year, when I took over, of course, even though I was part of Parliament, I was an insider already. But of course, in every party, whatever, every new administration, even if you were part of the previous administration, when you come, there are ways to do things as a leader. Every leader, there are ways to do things. And when I came, the first thing that I did was an assessment, a general assessment of the institution. Yes, I went around physically, what we call it, and that's why I'm saying the position is behind the scene position. I could see some institutions, when their head goes out to do what they call conducted tour, you'll see it out there in the media. But if I didn't tell you this happened, you will never know. But it actually happened. I had to go around the entire institution, department to department, and inspect the facilities and everything to see for myself. Because maybe then I was not the clerk. I didn't have time. I was just busy on my statutory function as deputy clerk and of course head of table office before. I may not have necessarily known the entire nitty-gritties of the institution and the facilities. I did that assessment, and it was documented in a report. I didn't stop there. The next leg of the assessment was I had an interaction with every member of staff, from a departmental level to unit level, to know their concerns and, of course, the condition of the facilities and the equipments. So this was all produced in a comprehensive report that I have to engage the board, which is called the authority. And it was very helpful, Ali, if I can say, because there are certain things that I know I never knew was in Parliament or was in the facilities. So that was where we now decided to see how best we can approach to addressing the concern and the issues that we have identified in that report. And quickly what we first did was, in the former clerk's time, we were developing what we call the strategy plan, 2024 to 2028. But when it was stalled, then I decided to make sure we reactivate it and make sure that we finalize our strategy plan, which was done through the help of the great project. The international idea, sorry. We finalized our strategy plan. That's, for me, it was a great achievement because every institution, I think, it's very important and very critical to have a strategic direction. Where do you want to go? And that was our first thing that we achieved. And not only after doing that strategy plan, which was launched, which is a 5-year period strategy plan, 2029 to 2025, sorry, to 2029. I did what we call also a benchmarking. And if I hear you will say, maybe I travel. No, it was a local benchmarking.
Oh, really?
Yes. I went to National Audit Office because these institutions are alike. We have an oversight responsibility. They do have. So I said, okay, why not I initiated a local benchmarking? Because the tradition has been you benchmark, you go outside the country.
That's what I've seen with most institutions.
So I decided to do a local benchmark. I talked to the Auditor General, the then Auditor General, Mr. Cisse, contacted him, and he welcomed the idea and definitely welcomed us in open arms. So we traveled to the National Audit Office, and then we learned how they do things, their facilities, their ICT system, their managerial system, their everything, and it was quite impressive. We learned a lot. That was also documented in a report, and it has informed us how we can transform our system as well as a parliamentary service. That was very helpful. And so this, I could say, were key initial achievement that we have achieved, and it has definitely paved the path for us to do what we are doing, what we can do within this year.
And after this assessment, I mean, what will you say is the current state of, Parliament's infrastructure and facilities?
Yes.
That you think probably need urgent modernization or maybe in the long term is something that needs to be fixed.
And that would link me to my major challenge.
Okay.
My major challenge, or our major challenge, if I can put it this way, is infrastructure.
Okay.
And if I say infrastructure, they say, okay, you have that very beautiful building and you are still complaining about infrastructure. But some of you who are privileged to know, to come inside Parliament, you will know that we are really limited as far as infrastructure. That building was just designed in our den size as Parliament in the old building.
Independence Drive.
Yes, Independence Drive.
Where you have the law school now.
Yes, where you have the law school now. And for us, until now, we are a young Parliament. We are a young democracy. We are growing. And our vision and our aim is to strengthen Parliament from all perspectives. And what we have seen been happening all over in our sister parliaments, we also want to bring it home. And we cannot do that with our current size. In fact, that is why you have so many establishments that we cannot even recruit or fill because the space is not there. You see, even as me, as deputy clerk, I was in a cubicle.
Yeah.
My directors, they are in a cubicle. They don't have offices. There were not enough offices when it was being constructed. So you'll see even the committee secretariat, you go there, you see how they are just like, they are positioned as if they are in sardine.
And that's
you
what
go
I've
to Hansard department.
Exactly, yeah.
And we are, all the department, if I could say, Aliu, they are all understaffed. It is not by design, but because the space is not there to expand.
Employ
more.
Yeah.
So this is the major challenge that we have currently, but we are working with partners to see how best we can build an annex to make sure that we do our reforms and strengthen the institution of Parliament. So this is our major challenge. But from the current facility, as I said, the report reveals so many things that are not right as far as our facility is concerned, like the outdated ICT infrastructure was completely outdated. Since it was installed in 2014, the building was opened in 2014. Yeah. There has never been an upgrade. And ICT equipment evolved.
Things have changed
they
now.
Rapidly changed. So most of them were not even compatible no more with the current system. So though even it was not necessarily strategically budgeted in our current 2025, what we maneuvered and see how best we can, because it's a concern. When I went round, it's really a concern that I have to do something urgently to address it. Alhamdulillah, today I can say partially it has been addressed. To see those that require immediate attention, we did our utmost best to give that attention to it, and we were able to with our humble budget. And now we have also, as an achievement, so far, sign a contract to have a complete overhaul of the chamber system and digitalization of Parliament. For me, this would be a great achievement, that we will completely digitalize Parliament from the chambers, including all the committee rooms as well. This would be a milestone achievement if it is. The contract has been signed with a local firm in partnership with an international firm, where everything in process of Parliament, also we could say 90% of our process will be digitalized, and our PA system and everything will be. Our viewers who normally watches the proceeding of Parliament will see some of the hiccups that happens in our proceedings, like our mics is failed. But we don't believe, as I said, these are one of the challenges, because the system, the internal report that I received from my ICT department was very alarming, that even the system can kaput anytime. So that was so alarming for me that I try to engage some partners, but now that's what we call the donor fatigue.
Exactly.
More institutions also, even development partners are more constrained financially than us. So, but yes, some were given some promises here, and I said, I had a management, and I said, no, this cannot be left hanging in the international donors only. We need to look inwards and do something, because I cannot explain it anywhere in the world when the entire system of Parliament kaputs. What would I say as clerk? So we look inwards and see how best we can address that. Alhamdulillah, with the help of the National Assembly Authority under the leadership of the Honorable Speaker and the entire membership, we were able to secure a modest funding to see how best we can address this holistically, and not just in piecemeal. So, and the contract has been signed. Its implementation will start by early next year, inshallah.
How about the issue of the website?
Equally, Yeah, I maybe time will not, but you know, I cannot build my own trumpet. But there are so many things that we are
But
able
it's
to
happening
achieve.
under your leadership.
Yes,
So
to
definitely,
say
even if you don't
when we
throw your own
came,
trumpet, these
yes,
are things that, I mean.
as young as and as a digital person as well.
Yeah.
For me, my ICT principal ICT officer always says, okay, we can see the vision that you have for ICT, and it's really one of my top priorities to invest heavily in the ICT and in infrastructure, and also to promote the visibility and rebrand the parliament, so that not only you will see parliament from that angle of political representation, but I want people also to see parliament from that institutional perspective, to see that we are an institutional, a role model that every institution shall also copy and look up to. And one of our things that we observed in that assessment that I did was our website was substandard, and of course, and it was not up to date. So we have also signed a contract, a 5-year contract with a local firm to upgrade the website and completely overhaul the website and upgrade it to a modern website that befits our status as an institution of parliament. That is also has been signed. Works is undergoing, has started. We hopefully in early next year it will be completed, inshallah.
So, I mean, let's now look at issue of capacity building. I mean, it's something that is very important. Yes, you have served in parliament from 2008 to now, but during this period also, you have also taken the opportunity to build your capacity. You went for overseas treatment. You studied law at the University of the Gambia. In terms of capacity building, it's one thing to have the, the personnel, I mean, within the institution, but the capacity, if the capacity is not there, it's also another challenge. So, what are your plans? Yes, as you said, I mean, resource-wise, you might be challenged here and there, but is it something that you are considering as well?
Certainly, Ali. Of course, as young as I am, that would be a disservice to Parliament, and a disservice, of course, to the nation and to the trust that if I come and do not invest, because in capacity development, and as a head of institution, we do know, the little that we know about HR, that human capital is very key in every institution. And for us, it's also part of the challenges that we have limited capacity, as we said, not both in human and financial resources. But what we are doing to address that, the current capacity that we have, we're developing and investing in training, capacity building, while if our overall goal or vision of achieving that infrastructural expansion, when you recruit, you will going to recruit also talented people. But the current staff that we have, they're doing extremely well within very difficult circumstances. And it is our responsibility to coach, to train, and of course upgrade the staff to become competent enough to serve Parliament to the best of their ability. And now to address that also is not about just me sitting there, pick and choose who I should train, who I should not train.
Exactly, yeah.
And then that's why from a strategic point, and which is part of our pillars in our strategy plan, is to do what we call a comprehensive functional review and job analysis of the National Assembly. And I can safely and happily report to say, though I don't even own any report to GPU, but to say, I can happily state that we awarded a contract as well to SMD, if I can mention it here, which is a very reputable firm, to do a comprehensive functional review and job analysis of the National Assembly. And in that functional review, it will highlight the current status of the Assembly service, the capital resources. And we also, in that contract, it was the job of the consultant to update our scheme of service, provide a job description, and as well as a new organogram and all those things. And as I am speaking, as of yesterday, they have submitted their final report, including the annexures. And from the face of it, I'm started reviewing since last night. I am very much impressed with the work, and that's how we're going to inform us as a management. Where do we move as far as capacity building is concerned, and how do we invest heavily on human capital development? And it's top priority, and it's not something that I am going to joke with. And of course, the authority also is very much committed and ready to support us in that drive to make sure that we build the capacity of the parliamentary service to better serve them as a parliamentarians. And that is a priority of the Office of the Clerk. And also, not before even this report comes, for us to implement. Currently, we have, in fact, I could say we have about, when I came in, currently, we have sponsored through the approval of the authority. We are sponsoring so many staff who are undergoing degrees at different levels.
At different levels.
First degrees and postgraduate degree at the University of Gambia. Some are doing their postgraduate in overseas. Okay. So I can't even list the number, especially at the local level, the UTG. We have so many staff that are undergoing their first degree at the UTG, and some are doing their masters at the UTG under the sponsorship of the National Assembly Service. So because when I came, I saw one of the things I said, all those who were interested in going for university or degree programs, I go and dig all the applications and table it to the authority. And I could say it was quite a number, more than 15, that has been sponsored under the National Assembly to pursue their degrees. So this is also an investment that would definitely, in the long run, benefit us as an institution and as a parliament.
I mean, in terms of the standing orders, are there plans to kind of reform some of the standing orders? I mean, like you said, I mean, it's parliament, things continue to evolve every now and then. Do you think there's also an urgent need to perhaps, I mean, revise some of the standing orders? I know you did the same a couple of years ago.
Yes.
But things keep evolving as far as parliamentary work is concerned.
Yeah, that's quite true. You are a keen follower of parliament.
Well, I've been covering parliament since 2008.
Yes, so you are absolutely right. Our current standing orders was very recent in 2019.
Exactly.
It was revised in 2019 to become one of the most progressive standing orders in the British West Africa, if I could say. And if I could proudly say, many of the West Africa Parliament, Commonwealth Parliament within West Africa even came to benchmark on that standing orders. Most of them have, I could proudly say, were able to revise their standing orders anchored or benchmarked on our own. Like, of course, Sierra Leone, even Ghana. But Ghana tried for more than 20 years to get their new standard. They couldn't. They just got theirs recently, last year.
Copying from your best practices.
Yes, absolutely. But as you rightly said, yes, we have tested the standing orders from 2019 to date. But I could certainly say, in so far as it's progressive, it's recent, but there are room for improvement. Because it has been tested. Even every law that you pass or every law that you enacted, if you get to the implementation, or even policy, get to the implementation for 5 years, there must be some gaps that are identified. And certainly, we must admit that. And it is also part of my reform agenda that when I came, I established a task force, a working group, if I could say, a working group comprising of technical directors to completely look at these current standing orders as well and see where are the gaps. And of course, we have tested it. We know where are the gaps as well, so how we can go to address that. The working group is working behind the scene. It's a behind the scene work as well. So they will report to me, and I will report to the authority, and we see on the standing orders committee. We have a standing orders committee comprised of members, but it is us, the technician, that must do the background work, do the assessment. Where are the lapses, the loopholes in the standing orders? Where can we improve on, and where can we learn, evolving parliamentary practice? As you said, Parliament evolves, so those parliamentary practices also evolves. And where can we learn? Because as you said, there are. You see, there are many times speakers deliver rulings. A ruling is, when speaker is forced to deliver a ruling, sometimes you'll see that the issue is not specific or expressly addressed in the standing orders. So therefore, that ruling becomes a novel thing. It becomes an evolving parliamentary process. So it is the responsibility of the standing orders committee also of the clerk to make sure that they codify that ruling in the standing orders. So we have piles of speakers' ruling. We have piles of parliamentary development all over the West Africa or Commonwealth that we need to also codify in our standing orders. So that is all part of the process of reviewing it. Hopefully before the end of next year, inshallah, the working group will submit their report, and then from there we take it up.
Yeah, because sometimes when you're following parliamentary debates, I mean, sometimes some of the MPs, I mean, will try to make reference to the standing orders, and they will have an argument over it. And now you ask yourself, is it that this is not clear, or the MP is just being deliberate in just raising certain issues?
Yes. You're quite right.
Exactly. And it's the same standing order that they all have.
Yes.
So what is it?
Yeah, and that is our responsibility. And for me, what we believe, and I think the approach that we use, and I think government also has that same policy at drafting level, that in fact, the best approach now in drafting, in fact, is to make sure that the law is as much as clearer then you remove all the ambiguities so that
or
even the layman out there
maybe some also don't read to understand. Maybe some also don't read to understand.
Yes, absolutely.
That also could be.
But essentially, whatever happened, there are certain, that is just drafting, legal drafting. There are certain, because that's what lawyers do, because there are certain things that are coded in legal languages that if I do not interpret for you, you find it very hard to understand. But essentially for us, we shouldn't get into those technicalities. We must make sure that the standing order is user-friendly. And it is our principle and our policy that the new standing order that we're going to develop is going to be clearer as possible, more user-friendly to the members and even the clerks that give advice, so that the ambiguities are definitely limited or reduced to the barest minimum. And that is our target.
And Clerk, how cooperative are the staff? I mean, some people I know that are very resistant to change. I mean, some also might, okay, he's a young person, Mark, I'm older than him and all those things. So sometimes people might not even want to obey your directives here and there. How cooperative are the staff?
Certainly, I could say, Aliu, the parliamentary service is a very disciplined service.
Okay.
It's a very disciplined service, and I must commend them. I must thank them very well. In fact, just recently when our staff award night that was organized, was so emotional.
It was for the first time?
Yeah, for the first time we organized what we call staff award night, which was rewarding excellence. And it was very appreciated across all corners of the parliamentary service. But to answer your question, for me, I have nothing to complain about their professionalism. As I said earlier, that some of our core values are, one of our core values, just as a respect and discipline. And the respect and discipline is not only to the members, but even to colleagues, among colleagues. And this has been manifested and is exhibited by every staff. For me, it's not about my age. I'm young or not. No staff, even those that are older than me, have never looked upon me in that perspective. They give me the maximum due regards, to an extent that sometimes I have to tease them to say, please, forget about the leadership title, forget about the position.
Maybe because you're also son in the same respect as well. You know, it's reciprocal.
So I am part and parcel of you, and for me, that is I have that open door policy. In fact, my office is not even locked. It's widely open. You can come in any time, and I'm accessible any time of the day and during the office working hour. Even off work, you can call me, and we talk about the service. And during my assessment or interaction with the old department, as I said, with all staff when I took over, it's one of the key message that I gave, that for me, if you want to be my friend, you have to be friend to the job. Because I am only a friend to a person who is a friend to the job. That is my mantra ever since, and whoever knows me about it, I don't have any other business. I don't even have a clan within the office. I just, my office, in fact, that's what they backbite me. So Halifa do not have anybody's time. I little socialize during work. From my office to the chamber when I was head of team. And if I go to the chamber, I go with speed that I don't even want to stand or in the corridors to discuss certain things. My work, home, that's all. But they have been very cooperative, if I could say, to the max. They give all, not only me, even my other staff, among themselves, they are very disciplined, they are very cooperative, they are very understanding, and they are very committed staff. And Aliu, it is just that now people are seeing the little good things about Parliament, but we went through a lot as a parliamentary service. We went through a lot under difficult circumstances, and we were able to safeguard our integrity. We were able to commit ourselves under difficult circumstances, under very poor working conditions. But Alhamdulillah, we were managed through all those years to where we are today, and with a very committed staff, very disciplined service, a parliamentary service, and very cooperative.
With all these, challenges you've highlighted, you need more resources to be able to overcome most of them. For someone watching this program, but what is the clerk saying? The parliamentary budget alone is over $500 million and all those things. Why is he complaining about resources? How do you respond to this?
When I was coming here, it's something that I said, okay, when I'm going to discuss that the limited resources we have, people, it will be a very interesting position. People say, how? And not only the number that you see in our budget, over $500 million is on our budget, but people will say, how come that's possible? Because you are the one who appropriates the fund. Why do you come here to complain about resources? Certainly, fair enough. But let me just say this before I go into that issue to say, I have to thank the leadership of the National Assembly, from Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Fabakary Tombong Jatta, and the members of the authority. What I mean, for the viewers to understand, what I mean when you say hear me saying authority, authority is our board. The other institution, they call it board of directors. For us, we have, according to our constitution, the nomenclature is called the authority. They supervises the service, and that is chaired by the Speaker of the National Assembly.
Who are the members of this board?
Yeah, the Speaker is the chairperson of the it's identified in the Constitution, Section 111, that the Speaker as chairperson and 4 other members appointed by the Speaker on the advice of a Committee of Parliament, and then the Clerk as member and secretary to the board. And as a tradition all over, that the Speaker is the chair. That's not a tradition, that's a constitutional provision. But as a tradition, the other members, the Speaker usually identify the majority leader and the minority leader. Then another female member and another male member. That has been the tradition. These are the composition. So the authority has been very supportive to the parliamentary service, to be candid. And that, because you know why we are able to be, they were able to be supportive as well, is because of the 2 assessments that I just said earlier, what we did. You know, it will be always difficult, or easier, if I could put it this way, to support somebody if you know the challenges or the institution itself. Because that report was very comprehensive, that it explained the current situation. It was a situational report, that it was a very factual situational report that was presented.
To know exactly what the sickness is all about.
And this, when we presented the authority, now they know the institution more than the clerk. So obviously, you do little to convince them to support you. And this was our approach. We presented the report to them. We give them a comprehensive overview of the institution, the challenges, the issues, and the concerns. And now when it comes to the budget, so that is why what I'm talking about digitalization, it is not only us wanting to digitalize Parliament, but it was a necessity that our ICT, our system was failing. And you cannot explain it anywhere. In fact, the next thing, it is the GPU or the members of the that will have to come after Parliament to say, come on, what happened? An institution like Parliament, what were they doing up to a stage that the system has to collapse? And
now the live streaming has made the work very easy for the media. You can just be in your office and follow proceedings and do your reports.
Certainly. So and it was our strategic decision to invest in the ICT. And we will never regret anything about that move. And by the time the project is actualized, people would understand, no matter how little expensive it may be, but it worth it. But coming to the issue of with the number of the budget is not only about operation. It involves about how you maintain the staff, because that's what I say. You know what would deceive some people, you don't treat Parliament as a ministry, as a normal ministry. What I always say, if you want to put it as a ministry, let's say it's a ministry with 58 ministers.
National members.
Yes. A ministry of 58 ministers, talk less of, you are talking about a staff company of close to 200 staff. Yes. And that is still insufficient. You go to the Parliament, they have staff companies of about 3,000 staff. They have they have a staff company of 6,000 staff. So that's why we are constrained. We are still underfunded, underbudgeted. But we are doing it reasonably. If we were to put all our needs in one budget year, people will come and storm Parliament. And that is why I'm saying the resources are limited, because we are addressing it in a progressive and strategic manner. In the sense, we do not want to just also constrain or strain the budget, the national budget, because it's a one basket. But that is why every year we see how best we can address one thing. The next year we address the other thing. We cannot address everything at a go. And that is why we're using that approach of strategically, progressively addressing our issues. Bearing in mind, yes, we could have done it, and likely the members would approve it, because they know the institution as well, the challenges. But we have to be reasonable.
And Clerk, that brings me to the issue of the Constituency Development Fund.
Yes.
What initiative have you taken to ensure that this Constituency Development Fund is put to the right place?
Certainly.
People have been complaining that some of these funds, MPs will collect the money and that's it.
No.
What have you come up with to ensure, yes, if you say you are going to bring a water project to my village, Dongoraba, we will make sure that the water gets to them.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm not giving them cash to go and do whatever they want.
That's a very interesting question. Yeah. And for us as Parliamentary Service, Office of the Clerk, it has been one of our greatest challenges. The Constituency Development Fund was initiated in 2022. So since then we have started. Procurement has so many processes. Yeah. You have open tender, you have single RFQ, you have single source here and there. So we have been testing every method of it. But everyone that comes, it poses its own challenges, to be quite frank. At one point, I can remember the former club, we were even thinking of, why not we advocate and scrap this? But the members would offer scrap to But not because it is not necessary. This Constituency Development Fund is very, very important. It's important. Because the idea is to bring some small-scale project to address some small-scale issues concerned at constituency level. And it's really helping members in that, and the communities as well. And that's why it's Constituency Development Fund. But what we are able to do, and quite frankly, this year, we have every year, we learn lessons in the implementations. Okay. But let me clarify this. It has never been a process of paying members directly to them. We have never. Okay. It's Office of the Clerk who manages, as I said earlier, it is the Clerk is the Chief Accounting Officer. Is the CEO of the institution. And tomorrow, the Clerk is the one who is going to be answerable to the auditors or to the FPAC. If he faces FPAC, people should know that as well. It's not it's only institution outside that faces FPAC. We do have to face FPAC. Yes, certainly. People have to know that. This is news to me. We have to face, we are accountable to FPAC as well, as a spending institution. We are accountable. So we are very cognizant of that responsibility. Maybe we should create an external FPAC so that Parliament will come. No, and they never make it easy for us. In fact, not before facing the post-accountability mechanism, even the budget process. All the institutions go for bilateral. We go bilateral with FPAC. We defend our budget, seriously. And they cut us. Wow. They normally cut us. So that is very interesting. People may not know, but we face the same challenge as other institutions now, you mean? So let's come back to the Constituency Development Call. We call it CDF. So as I said, from 2022 to 2024, we have been testing different procurement methods. But everyone comes with its own challenges and the lessons that we have learned in the process. And really that has helped us this year to innovate, to make sure that we get it more right. Okay. We are getting it little right, but we get it more correct. Because for me, and for all of us, including even the former Clerk, the emphasis, and even the Honorable Speaker's emphasis and the authority are like us, as an oversight institution, we call it our apex oversight institution in our governance structure. We should live above board. We must be seen to be doing the right thing. Because we cannot be holding institutions to account when we are accountable. It's something that is undesirable. So we are very cognizant of that responsibility. That is why this year we did what we call open tender. We did last year open tender, but it was aggregated. Okay. Like all constituencies and do open tender, and it was posting out. You will see some issues in that. So this year what we did the approach we used was open tender, but we disaggregated it. Each constituency has a lot. So we have 58 constituencies. 58 constituencies, 58 lots. So that every constituency you'll limit yourself within your threshold. That's one aspect of it. That's the procurement.
And if you can summarize, because we've almost run out of time.
Just finally, on the other issue that we used was, we make sure that the project proposal, because now according to the policy, we make sure that we revisited the policy, we develop a policy and make sure we all the lessons that we have learned over the years, we buried it in the new policy. And then the project proposal, now come with project proposal. It is vetted by the Office of the Clerk, and we also established another committee comprised of members of the authority, which is the board, to vet the project, to see if this project is doable within that threshold, whether it is something that is beneficial to the community. Once we approve it, that's the time we do the procurement process. So these are the layers that are put in place to ensure that the process is transparent, the process is smooth, and the process is very, very well professionally done.
Clerk, we've come to the end of the program, but finally, in just 30 seconds, I mean, what will be your US message to your staff and the general public?
Yeah, thank you, Aliu. Thank you for having me once again. I am very much grateful. As I said, if I am not mistaken, this is the first time that the clerk would have to go for a public media interview. Because as he said, as my former boss, late DCM Keba said, we are licensed to write, but not licensed to talk, as clerks. But of course, time evolves, and of course, there is need to, we never regret to come here to share our little experience as parliamentary administration. My New Year's message is to the parliamentary service to say, to be specific, and generally to the Gambian people to say, as a parliament, parliamentary service for that matter, it is our responsibility to serve parliament with dignity, with respect, professionalism, and utmost neutrality. And this has been our core values, and I ask every member of staff of the parliament to keep up the momentum in that perspective, in that spirit, and in that commitment to make sure that we deliver the best of our abilities and capacity to parliamentarians and parliament as an institution. And let's continue the drive to strengthen the institution of parliament. It belongs to us and it belongs to every Gambian. We are so proud to be members of staff of parliament. And to say 2026 will be a year of change as well. A year of change, a year of transformation, a year of digitalization, and a year of progress in all aspects of our parliament. And I thank you, Aliu, once again for having me. I'm very grateful.
Thank you so much, Clerk. I am so grateful.
Happy and a prosperous new year.
Thank you so much, Clerk. And I'm so grateful to have you as my final guest for 2025 on the State of Affairs program. Well, viewers, with that, we bring an end to this week's edition and the final episode for 2025. On behalf of my entire production team, I mean, the staff and management of QTV, we wish all our viewers a happy and prosperous 2026, from the President of the Republic to all the political actors and all the people who have actually availed themselves during the year to be on this program for us to discuss about national issues. Like I said, once again, thank you so much for watching. Join us next year. Until then, bye-bye from me and the entire team.